Welcome to Ask the Professor. I'm your host, Ron Tulley, Dean for the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences here at the University of Findlay. Ask the Professor is a show where we get to know our UF professors a bit better, learn about their vocational passions, what they love to teach, their ongoing research, service, scholarship, and/or creative projects. And hopefully, when we're finished, we have a better understanding of their discipline, their typical workday, and of course, who they are and what motivates them. Today, I'm honored to welcome my colleague and good friend, Dr. Lisa Bradley. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Lisa is Assistant Professor of Health Informatics and Director of the Master of Science in Health Informatics program here at the University of Findlay, a position she's held since 2015. Dr. Bradley received her Bachelor of Arts degree in Business Administration and Accounting from Bluffton University, her Master's degree in Business Management with a concentration in Leadership from Tiffin University, and her EDD in Educational Leadership and Management from Capella. Her current research is looking into the higher number of COVID-19 cases in the African American communities and what causes this disparity. She has worked simultaneously in medical and higher education industries for over 25 years. While in the medical industry, she worked as a provider relations and education manager, overseeing physician credentialing, National Committee for Quality Assurance, that's NCQA accreditation, provider education, managed care contracting, and medical claims resolution. She was the founder of the Lima Local American Academy of Professional Coders, AAPC, which functioned from 2001 to 2019. Based on her medical coding certification, she was asked to be a college educator for medical assisting and medical coding programs at the James A. Rhodes State College in Lima, Ohio, in which 98% of her medical coding students successfully completed national medical coding certifications. She has served on multiple healthcare, educational leadership, and community-related committees, boards and teams encompassing state, regional, and national levels, and she enjoys opportunities to volunteer her time in which she can help to enrich the lives of others, especially young people. Her collaboration with the University of Findlay and Nutrien of Lima helped to secure a $30,000 donation for Lima City School 8th graders registered within the CTAG, Closing the Achievement Gap program. The grant allows underserved student populations to explore higher education programs from a very unique perspective and has been instrumental in the program's growth and reengineering. Because of her leadership and diligence, UF's MSHI, that's the Master of Science in Health Informatics program, was ranked #1 on the 35 Best Masters in Health Informatics Online for 2019 by Best College Reviews. They also recognize the program as one of the most versatile programs in their ranking. Dr. Bradley has adopted the title of lifelong learner and believes that through her time and commitment, she can inspire others to make education a part of their unique pathway. Wow, I'm out of breath here. I feel like I need another episode just to get through your bio. So your bio says you started at UF in 2015, but I feel like we've known each other for 10 years or so. Is that right?
No, it's only really been since 2015. July 1, 2015 was when I started.
Wow.
And it does seem like we've known each other for a long time. Sometimes I have to stop and add up the years actually of how long I have been here. But no, just since July 1st, 2015, that was my debut here. I actually did the interview, I want to say probably in 2014. This was the first time that I had ever interviewed for a full-time faculty position, at a college or university. So I think I was surprised that it was all day. So if I saw you during that time, that might add a little bit more onto it.
Yeah, it just seems, I don't know, when you hit it off with somebody, it always seems like you've known them a bit longer. So that's a good thing.
It does, yep.
A basic question to start with here, perhaps not so basic because there's a few parts to it, but first off for everyone, what is health informatics and how is it used? Why study it?
Okay, so health informatics really is all of this, the science and the information, I would say, behind gathering and collecting healthcare data. The reason why it's good to study is because one of the things that a lot of people don't realize in regards to health informatics is because it combines the collection of that data along with our technology resources. The utilization of electronic medical records and electronic health records that we now have within our healthcare organizations, physician offices, practically anything healthcare related, all kind of comes together then with the use of that great technology. We have all that data and all that information that we bring together, and then we can take that data then and turn it into useful information. So when I'm talking to a potential student for the program, or maybe someone who doesn't know what health informatics is about, I give a very short definition, of the fact that it is the gathering, of all of that great healthcare data through the means of technology, and then we take it and turn it into useful information. So what do we use it for? We're using it in order to be able to expand some of the possibilities of our services that we do within the healthcare field. We're taking a look as far as maybe we want to add on, maybe a healthcare organization wants to add on a diabetic clinic, or maybe they want to add on a cancer registry aspect. Then they take a look to see, what do we have data-wise to be able to support, the addition of these particular types of services. In addition, then, one of the things that I think I'm most proud of is the fact that it basically expanded then to where we have now patient portal, pieces to the electronic health informatics systems. And those patient portals then allow patients then to be able to have much more input, and certainly to be able to help, manage themselves from a healthcare perspective by tapping in to, even better communication. Things are just a little bit faster. You don't have, as many, written prescriptions. So e-prescribing is all a part of it. And certainly being able to help patients to be able to take more of an active role in their own particular healthcare, just by the mere communication from a technological standpoint, is something that, for me, is certainly groundbreaking. Patients, a lot of times, as individuals, we're constantly utilizing our cell phones and all of our smartphones and that level of technology. And just to be able to have that to look up and or to report, to our physicians that, hey, look, now we're taking an additional medication, or maybe we're no longer taking this medication. How does this affect, my overall health and well-being? And that right now, and what we call POS, point of service information, that's being put in right at your doctor's office visit, or even a telemedicine visit, anything technology based where we can actually start then to gather that data and take it and turn it into useful information to extend, the lives of our patient, and certainly to add more services, is really, really good. And this particular area of the healthcare field was one of those areas that was almost the last piece, because we were so intrinsically concerned about making sure that we're protecting, patient private information, that we certainly didn't want, we wanted those great, those wonderful safeguards that we had from a manual paper perspective to also transition then over to our electronic world. So once that happened, and once we got all of those things brought together, then we see the upsurgence of where we're at right now with all of our electronic medical records. So it's vast. Health informatics is a vast area, and it covers a lot of different sub areas that are embedded, I should say, within health informatics, allowing individuals then to be able to explore different aspects of that particular career. So I'm very, very proud to be able to be working in this particular area that I got a chance to witness it being unfolded right before my eyes, as I was working in the healthcare industry.
So I think that answers a little bit of my next question. I'm thinking of students and, kind of the thought process that goes into choosing a major. Now, obviously at the graduate level, it's a little bit different, but speaking maybe to our undergraduates, some are very certain and come in, I'm going to be a pharmacist. Others are maybe undecided still. What put you on your path to this field? Why did you choose this field?
I think one of the reasons why I had the opportunity of actually working in the healthcare field as a professional. You were reading, some, parts of my bio there in regards to just being a manager in regards to the provider relations piece. And when the electronic health records and electronic medical record technology started to come on board, I was there being able to see the transition actually happen from going from a paper medical record to an electronic medical record. One of the things that I really liked in regards to this field was how much more opportunity that it opened up for individuals, and certainly, from our student perspective, to be able to have more choices. So a lot of times healthcare, if you're in an area of healthcare, everything just streamlines right across in regards to just staying right within that healthcare area. This particular program, Health Informatics, actually opens up some other windows and opportunities, as you were mentioning, for students who are in the technology area. Okay, for students who are not only in healthcare, but technology, even for students that are within certain disciplines. A lot of times, a lot of times the outlook basically is that, hey, look, I'm going to pick this one discipline within the healthcare field and I'm going to stay in it. But one of the things that health informatics does with, because of the great technology aspect, is it allows students within different healthcare disciplines and technology disciplines specifically to be able to broaden their horizons and certainly to be able to branch out. Okay. So pharmacy informatics is a subdiscipline. And so a lot of pharmacy individuals decide that, hey, look, we want to be able to add on again and be able to tap into this other great side. And for me personally, Dr. Tulley, I love having some alternatives. I love having a variety. I like being able to be flexible as an individual myself. And I think that's one of the attractions for me for this program, is because of my love of being able to be flexible and being able to work in multiple areas. Then this particular major certainly does help to get that done. So you can still be a pharmacist, you can still have your passions, in whatever particular discipline, nuclear medicine, things of that nature. You can still have your particular passions, but health informatics just gives you that next level where you can be able to take that initial passion and add on to it. So that's what attracted me, and certainly that's what keeps me being able to tell my students of more options.
Where do you see the field going in the next 10 or 20 years? What are the advances being made now that might come to fruition in that time?
I would say definitely more interoperability, more HIE, health information exchange, not just within our current communities within the United States, but more global. When I am teaching courses within this program, I am mindful to be able to let that particular goal and certainly dream of mine to open up from a more global aspect. We're not there yet, but we are certainly advancing towards that particular mark.
We've already discussed jobs kind of on the periphery. You mentioned the versatility of this program and the degree in the field. But what are some job areas that people might not be aware of, maybe on the periphery, that health informatics also touches into?
I would say that one of the things that I think gets missed a lot is even within our medical insurance industry. So right within our medical insurance industry, they are also constantly collecting data on the individuals who they are insuring, and as well as being able to gather that data and the usefulness of that data for them as an industry is to be able to certainly model and make changes in the different types of insurance packages that they offer to organizations, that they offer to companies, and certainly that they offer to individuals. I would say consumer, informatics, as well as in our public health settings. A lot of people sometimes, discount those areas as being viable areas. Going back to the insurance aspect, there are organizations called third-party administrators, who are pretty much those organizations that are between sometimes the main insurance company and the employer. So that's an area as well that is pretty vast that a lot of times people discount. And so thinking of it from a more data aspect, data analytics, certainly being on the side of where you're gathering large amounts of data, data warehouses, and working within even those types of realms. Veterans Administration, for example, people don't think about, the unique organizations like Veterans Administration, workers' compensation, those types of areas. Again, anywhere where you're collecting any type of healthcare data, and again, turning it into useful information. So there's a variety of different areas out there throughout the United States and the world that it's my hope, to be able to gear my students towards those particular non-traditional healthcare settings.
Graduate programs are very focused by their nature. Almost all the courses are in the field, so to speak, with sometimes a cognate here or there. Let's think about our undergraduate students. So thinking about your own experience, what courses, I sometimes hear undergrads say, well, I don't really want to take that. I don't see how that's applicable to what I want to do. But in your experience, and maybe with some of your students, maybe some things that are lacking, what courses outside of, the obvious ones that are connected to health informatics did you take that you find most applicable to your work and to your teaching?
I would say the management and leadership aspect courses for sure, that even led me around project management, as well as even research. So the management courses, because a lot of times, even if you don't have the title of manager, sometimes we fall into an aspect where we do need to manage. We do need to be a project leader. We absolutely, need to, maybe we're called to be able to set on a particular committee. And so, how do we function, even within that level? Courses in regards to project management and or teamwork were some courses that I found very, very useful, just in order to give me the experience of how to act, within a team setting. How to be, the lead person, of a particular type of committee and or function within the office. Why? Because you never know when those opportunities, and certainly when those duties or tasks may come your way. So it's always good to be prepared. I enjoyed, those particular pieces. The accounting aspect, certainly, just knowing, how to be able to, what a budget is all about, how to be able to set a proper budget. Certainly even how to help your own department to stay within, certain budget parameters. And being able to take a look at those types of things were things that I felt were general. I had no idea, to be quite honest with you, how extensive the marketing piece would get for me, until at one point in time, when I was working in the healthcare field, it was like, oh, we want to start our own website. And we want you take the lead on that. And I was like, well, it's a good thing I had a marketing class as an undergrad student, as well as, yay, I had a marketing class in my master's, for my master's degree. And those particular skills were things that I was able to go back around. Now, I wasn't discounting our own marketing division, certainly, within that, but being able sometimes just to speak the language of those types of environments has proven for me to be extremely helpful.
My own experience as someone who earned a master's degree in health informatics here at UF is that the courses, the student body was very diverse in every meaning of the word: gender, race, ethnicity, international students, socioeconomic, single moms, veterans, older folks. Do you feel that this is a field that tries to be specifically inclusive, is inclusive by its nature? What makes it diverse?
I would say a lot of times, graduate programs at their very nature, in my opinion, have that level of, hey, wow, I'm in this position, and maybe if you're currently working, you want to be able to go to the next level. So then you're seeking out a master's degree in order to be able to take you there. And I think by nature, that makes graduate programs diverse in that regards. Then you have individuals, like you said, who are coming right out of an undergraduate aspect. And so they're flowing then into this particular program for that, because they want to be able to have multiple options as they start their job search, and something that will complement their undergrad studies. I've had individuals in the program, who have called me and said, I did the research, and it looks like health informatics individuals are, right there at the top of the food chain, and I want to transition and move now from my current, into this. And then there are individuals as well that are looking at it from the STEM aspect, the fact that it is a STEM program, and they want to be able to, delve more, into that. So I think just by the sheer nature of graduate programs being able to be diverse, alone, this particular program then absolutely, has brought about its own level of diversity, just for many of those things that I've named. Some individuals just want to, I'm tired now doing what I've been doing for, 20 years. I heard about health informatics and now I want to transition over, those types of things. Keeping in mind as well that this is one of those 21st century programs, and certainly one of those 21st century, concepts that a lot of people think that is new in regards to, because of that piece of technology. And again, they just want to, be able to kind of explore and see, well, what can I do with this? So I would say all of those different things, and you're right. The program has surprised me as to the diverse individuals, diverse backgrounds, et cetera, that it attracts. But I do believe that those are some reasons why.
So I'm going to continue with this line of thought. I'm thinking about UF as a school. We are well aware of the gender disparity at our school, which is not uncommon across the US, but it's really exacerbated at UF. And part of that is because of the health professions in particular fields. I've noticed some statistics, and again, I'm largely ignorant of this, but what I read in the program was that this also tends to be an area where there's a higher proportion of women involved in the field. Do you see this as a trend that's continuing, or will there be more men in the field? And if so, why or how?
I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be, if that particular gap is something that's going to be closed more tightly than what it is. But I can tell you that from my program perspective here at the University of Findlay, I almost see an equal footing of men and women who are interested, uniquely in the program. I think one of the areas that a lot of times surprises me is because of the nursing aspect. So a lot of nurses sometimes who are already working as nurses in the field that maybe want to be managers, a lot of times, they'll reach out and certainly begin that level of communication in regards to wanting to get a master's degree and specifically in this field because they want to maintain that scientific, connectivity that they already have with being a nurse. And quite honestly, I've had both male and female nurses contact me, and more prevalently female nurses, only because of the fact that they want to, be able to make that transition, to manager, or maybe they're just looking to add something and to be, add a little bit more diversity towards maybe the end of their career. And this is what they're telling me. When I have a male nurse contact me, it's like, oh, wait a minute, I just graduated from nursing 2 years ago and I've been working as a nurse and I see that there's another opportunity and I've been doing some research and I want to now sign up for your program. And I'm kind of like, okay, determination is already there. And they're actually telling other nurses, other male nurses as well, hey, look, you need to try this, come on board, so now we got a group going. And so when I look at my program from the male-female perspective, I see more of an evenness. No, I haven't run the numbers to be able to tell you exact, but I can see more of an evenness across the board with that. Within the industry itself, I think it's probably, I couldn't tell you whether for sure, yep, it's probably going to, be more evened out. But I will say that one of the things that happens is it all depends on, what individuals want to be able to do in advancing their career, male or female, and what pathway that they're choosing, to be able to take, either leaving their previous undergrad discipline or embracing it, right along with what they currently have. So that's a good question. And now that you've asked it, of course, now you've got me curious. So I'll be watching that for my program for sure, and the health and informatics area as a whole. As soon as we get off this call, I'm going to start documenting.
An opportunity, right? I mean, we know that in many positions, I'll just use PA, nursing, you mentioned, occupational therapy, physical therapy, many of those professions have long been dominated by women. And there's always kind of been the generic association that women are more nurturing, which I think there's some truth to that, but it's also stereotypical and it can be dangerous to make those assumptions. But I see health informatics. The reason why I ask that question is I really see it as not just new in the sense of trying to integrate all these areas, but it really doesn't have that stereotype, right? It doesn't have that legacy because it is so.
Mm-hmm. I don't think so. And I think that, again, probably, different Master of Science and Health Informatics programs, can certainly, provide their own level of detail and certainly their own level of data, that they've collected on it. But I would say that for this program, I'm seeing pretty much an even, gender aspect, across the program, certainly since I've been here.
I know you're a woman of deep faith. I know it's central to your life and who you are. How does it inform what you do in your vocation? And do you feel the University of Findlay supports you and encourages both you and your students to feel comfortable expressing their faith?
I do believe that being here at the University of Findlay, one of the things that I'm most proud of about this university is the fact of the faith-based aspect. Being able to, pray openly, also being able to express that without, feeling any shame about it or thinking that, oh, I can only do it in certain settings. As an employee here at the University of Findlay, that is something that is paramount for me. And certainly I embrace, those different opportunities when I get the opportunity to be able to join with others. Certainly, and to express, my faith-based aspect about myself. Okay, so then that puts me then in a comfortable position with that, to where I don't feel, that I have to hide it or have to be ashamed of it. in the along that same line in regards to students, I think students, just from what I've seen, feel the same way. When they get a chance to express, their faith and certainly their belief and, their devotion, that they can, be able to share within, groups, and certainly just within the larger piece that is here at the University of Findlay. That certainly, makes them more comfortable. You don't have to, they don't have to worry about hiding it or not talking about it, in certain settings. To be at a university that actually has a church right on. And the Weinbrenner building, the very first time that I walked in, and I, was able to just walk over and stand at the base of the cross, that is in that building, for me was just, awe-inspiring. And sometimes just being able to see others, to be able to express that without being ashamed of it, or even without, trying to hide it. And then there's individuals, that I get a chance to work with who are also faith-based and just very inviting, even within conversation aspects. Again, that's something that I will be honest with you, I wasn't expecting. And it certainly has made for good friendships. It has made for a good working environment as well. And certainly being able to see, students who are faith-based as well, be comfortable, here at the University of Findlay. That's important.
Tell me about a role model in your life and how they helped you with your personal and professional goals.
I would have to say, well, there's been many, many, many different role models for me. My mother is my biggest one. My mother is a career nurse. She was a career nurse. Oh, she probably worked maybe 45, 50 years, something like that. I don't know how long she worked, Ron. She's long since retired. But her encouragement for me was about higher education. I'm the oldest, so she wanted me to go to college. We had been talking about it since I was in the 7th grade. I think having her as that wonderful mentor and being the first in my family, to go this far in my college education is a testimony to her. It is certainly something that I give her all the credit for. She was always very concerned about making sure that whatever college that I went to, that it was accredited, having some background and some disappointments in that herself, as she, chose to seek out a particular college, to go to for her nursing. Basically, there were some issues where, documents and information and everything that got signed by her and my grandfather ended up being that the college wasn't a real college, okay? They lost a little cash on that. And the recovery piece was when she started working as a nurse's aide at a nursing home. She got connected with the right mentor who just kind of took her under her wing and helped her then to get to the point of becoming a licensed practical nurse. So education was something that was very important to her for her children. And I think I took to that, but I just did not want to be a nurse. I was not trying to go through all of the clinical pieces. So to her surprise, I embraced the healthcare piece of her, and also then the business piece of her as well that I didn't know existed until after I finished a couple of those degrees that you mentioned a little bit ago. My mother has always been that source of encouragement and mentorship for me. And even when in those moments when I was kind of like, well, wow, Mom, I'm gonna, I think I want to be a doctor. I'm gonna get my doctorate. And she says, "You're gonna be a doctor?" I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "You still going to school? When you gonna be a nurse?" I was like, "I don't want to be a nurse." I said, "I work with nurses." I said, "But not really." She and I got a chance to work together in the same healthcare organization. And I'd get on the elevator and I'd want to greet her. "Hi, Mom, how are you?" She was like, "No, that's not how you act on the job. No, we don't know each other. We'll say hi, Mom, and hi, daughter, when we get home. But for now, I want you to be a professional. I want you to, act like you're a professional and be a professional, be a lady." She was like, "There's no reason that you can't be, still embrace your femininity, and still be a professional." She said, and she's always been getting on to me about, don't talk too much. I was like, "Well, now, when I became a professor," she was like, "Well, now I guess you can take the reins off of that." She said, "You can talk all you want. Now you got to talk." And so just being able to share, my milestones with her, everything that you see behind me is because of her diligence, her leadership, her mentoring me. And I will have to say, the best mama that anybody could ever have. And I get a chance to share, things with her. When I got this job, I brought her up here with me to meet Dr. States. And it was so funny because, she came up here and she said, I'm very glad you're working here. And she said that you get a chance to work with your friend. I said, "Oh, I just met him. I don't know anything about him." So she's very, very hands-on, I would say, but not in a bad way. I've enjoyed writing about her and my relationship with her, and certainly how she's encouraged me, through my vocation, through my faith, as well as through, my career paths, and how to be a lady, in any profession that I've been through. So you got me crying on that one. I wasn't expecting that question, but
this is
that's
why
my mama.
Yeah, absolutely. This is your time and your interview, but I would love to have a coffee with you and share my own stories on that too, because my sister and I were the first generation in our family to go to college too. And you will get me tearing up when I start talking about my dad's drive to get us to go to school. So
yeah. All right. And I do want to add that one of the things that, even when I'm mentoring, because of my own personal experience with her, and all of the different aspects that she covered with me in regards to education, higher education, as well as, even my K through 12 pieces. My mother oftentimes was the only African-American who was attending the PTA, who was attending the parent-teacher conferences, who was coming in there, in the early mornings just to drop me off, just to step into a classroom. And when she stepped into a classroom, she didn't just look at one student, her daughter. She was looking at the whole class. "Oh, y'all better be acting right up in here." And having that wonderful communication and connectivity with the principals and my teachers and advisors and counselors and all of that. And so when the college aspect started, she still maintained, maintained a distance, but yet and still, she was still a very good mentor and certainly instrumental in helping me to finish. So when I'm mentoring other, K through 12 students, advising, first year undergrad students, any students of that nature, my, thing to them is to, continue to keep those great connections that they have with their family. Don't discount
Mhm.
those moments. When it comes down to spring break or winter break or whatever, are you making connection, with your family? And even when it comes down to graduation, and especially graduation, I am encouraging my students, is your family going to be here? Or,
Yep.
how, what does that look like, for you? And I've had the opportunity within this wonderful higher education career to meet a lot of family who has supported their students from behind the scenes. I think my one of my favorite stories is when one of my students, his mother flew in from another country, and she came in for a special visit before he had finished the program. And she said to me, she said, if he finishes successfully, she said, it will be because of you. I
Yep.
can't be here in the United States with him. She said, but right now you're going to be his mama. And I was like, oh, I said, I'm director and professor. Now you telling me I got to, and And so I told him, I said, you better do good. I got your mama's cell phone number. So you better, stand up and act right. So it was funny to me, about that, but she was very, very serious. And he did finish the program successfully because of their wonderful, connectivity and communication. And as soon as graduation time hit, she showed right back up. We have pictures and everything. And she said, I feel like he was in good hands. And I said, I do too. You're the one that made the difference. So those are different, types of things that, because it worked for me, I try to encourage my students certainly to embrace that part and not to forget about their family. So you got me crying. I don't know what I'm gonna
Yeah,
do with you.
it was not my intention, but I'm not going to apologize for it because I love these stories. I love the narratives, hearing the individual pride and the family history and how we get. I mean, we're all climbing, right? We're all trying to do better for ourselves, and we need to hear these narratives from everybody. They're good, they're powerful. So don't ever apologize for that, and I won't apologize for asking. Uh, it's COVID, so none of us have hobbies and interests anymore. All we do is work and stay quarantined. But I know you're involved with your church, and I know you, as you just mentioned, very powerfully, you have strong family bonds. But when you're not at work, what is Lisa doing?
Well, I love movies. I mean, I am a Marvel fan. A lot of people don't know that, but
All
me and
right.
you could talk about the Avengers all day long and twice on Sunday. I love sci-fi. That's my favorite. Anything and everything Star Trek, not Star Wars. I'm sorry, I can't cross that road, but Star Trek for sure. And I got a chance during a lot of the COVID season, obviously, to be able to kind of even, watch things, from my sci-fi fetish that I didn't even know existed. I was like, what kind of show is this? I was like, oh, wait a minute. Look like they got
You have an
somebody in here I
example?
recognize. For example, I had seen all of the Star Trek uh, uh, what I want to call all of the Star Trek series, except for the one that starred Scott Bakula.
Okay.
I think that was his name. And ironically, all of the TV shows that deal with Star Trek, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, they all ran for a specific length of time for 7 seasons. This is the only, that particular show, which I believe was called Enterprise. I can't be for sure, only ran for about 2 or 3 seasons. And so I had chosen never to watch it. Well, I got a chance to watch it. I got encouraged to watch it by another Trekkie. And I finally sat down and it started, linking in some things for me. And then the new series, Picard, I was like, oh, there's a new series. Okay, I'll
Mhm.
watch that. And then they also have a newer a newer Star Trek, which I believe that might be called Enterprise as well, that looks like it came out maybe just a few years ago. So I got a chance to tap into that and further, just expand my knowledge and my information about anything and everything Star Trek. I went back and watched all of the movies, just to see if I had missed out on a nugget or so. But I do enjoy watching movies, and I love to crochet. So of course, while I'm watching movies, I'm crocheting.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up crocheting probably many, many different Afghans that I've been blessed to be able to give away.
Okay.
And certainly, I've got a stack now that I'm going to be donating to other organizations to be able to for them to give away to individuals within the breast cancer area. So that is a particular aspect of healthcare that I'm very, very drawn to, and because they so wonderfully in women wellness centers so wonderfully give to other women. I was kind of like, oh, I want to give something. So here's some Afghans that I made during COVID while I was watching Star Trek, and now I get a chance to give them away to other women to be able to and other individuals to be able to comfort them during that during their particular time. So I like crafts. My mother taught me how to crochet. It was actually a punishment that she thought she was going to do, and I turned it into a wonderful aspect for me, which helps me to relax and to just have some some me time. But this COVID season has had me in a lot of me time, so I've got a
Right.
stack of them.
You're in the Student Life Center and you walk by a table and there's a group of students and they're saying some very kind things about you. What are they saying?
Oh my goodness. There goes Dr. Bradley. Most often they'll greet me, hello, doctor, which I'm usually surprised, because unless they're in my program, then I kind of figure, nobody knows me, right? And so I'm always surprised when students outside of my program know me as well. They're saying she's very, she's a humorous and funny person, so I like to laugh. Usually they're interested, where are you going? What are you doing? Are you going to have lunch? What are you eating today? Those types of things. They might be asking me questions about, I do attend some of the student organizations, some of their, meetings and so forth. Black Student Union and FASA, those are two meetings that I attend. So are you going to be in the next meeting? How'd you like the last meeting? Saw you on the Zoom, heard you on the Zoom, saw you in the meeting. Those types of things. I've heard comments like, oh, she's really nice. And probably more recently, and working with the Orler Success Center, she's my faculty coach. So, she, gave me some good advice about the tutoring, the tutoring center. So those types of things. Usually I'm trying to turn, whatever conversation around to be about them. How are you doing? I'm asking them questions. And certainly email me if you need something. Here's my card, or y'all know how to find me. So email me if you need something. And if I can help you, I can. If I can't directly, I will call somebody like Dr. Ron Tulley, and I know I'm gonna get some help. So
I'm gonna really be lost. All right, so you're still in the Student Life Center. You're on your way to get that cup of coffee, and you go a couple more tables, and well, those students aren't saying such nice things. What might they be saying about Dr. Bradley?
They might be saying anything from the fact that would certainly lead around to tough but fair. wow, I turned in, something that was late or something that was unacceptable. But she gave me some, some feedback and, you know, led me to, to getting some tutoring. Or I can't believe that, I couldn't, get this out of her. I was able to get it out of somebody else, but I couldn't get it out of her. But she actually did end up helping me in the long run. I don't know who she is. Never seen her before.
Okay.
What program does she teach? You mean she teaches here? She's a teacher? What does she teach? Because again, since I'm teaching graduate only, then undergrad may not even know me. They may not even pay, any attention. So I would say that as it turns out, what might on the surface sound negative, I see it more as a positive for that student in the long run. Maybe they can't see it yet, but I know that if they follow that, the instruction or the pathway that I've put them on, that it'll end up being positive for them, in the long run. So I don't worry about negative comments, to be quite honest with you, in the moment. Sometimes, I'm human just like anyone else. So certainly sometimes it might be a little, owie, but yet and still, when I track their progress later on to see how did this turn out based on the advice that I gave you, and it turns out okay, I may never even know that aspect of it, but I know that since it's worked for other students, if they take that advice on that I've given them and that feedback that maybe they didn't really like, and they take that on and they embrace that and actually work, to make changes, that they're going to come out okay. And so it's all up to them, once they, receive it. I listen. And I think for me, I'm kind of like, well, is that something that I need to check myself about and make improvements, or did I do the right thing? And so once I answered that quick question, on my way to get, which really is either sweet tea or a hot tea, I'm done with the coffee at this point, then that is a nice check for me. So usually those are some of the comments, that I've heard. Tough but fair.
Okay. Let's keep going down the hall. You get on the elevator and there's one student there who just happens to want to enroll in your program. You've got 30 seconds on that elevator. Sell it to me.
So you want to enroll in my program. That sounds great. What I need to know is a little bit more background. Why don't you and I, set up some time when you and I can meet, talk on the phone. Here's my card, or here's my email address. Come on, let's get it wrote down right now. Get the email address wrote down right now within a book or within your cell phone. Get your cell phone out. Get your cell phone out, punch my number in, pull it up, put that information in. Bradley, Bradley, the letter L, and then the number 2 at findlay.edu. This is how you reach me. These are the different ways. Wait a minute, where are you going? This elevator ride is not over yet. We still got some talking to do. You want to be in my program? This is who you contact. This is how you reach me. Let's set up a Zoom. Let's set up a time when we can talk. What's your name? Let me make sure I've got your name. Give me your email address, just in case if you forget to contact me. And then I contact them. If they don't contact me, let's talk about the program. Let's see if this is right for you. Who's your advisor? Tell me real quick. Who's your Dr. Ron Tulley? I know him. I'm gonna call him about you. Give me your last name again. Great, it's nice to meet you. Have a good day. Here we go. You gotta be hungry for the student as much as the student is hungry for you, even in those moments when, I'm trying to keep on and get on the elevator and get off the elevator. I have to stop and take time for our unique clients. That's what I'm here for. And it's in their moments sometimes it's not always convenient for us, but we have to stop and realize, hey, wait a minute, this student is interested now. they've been looking for you, thinking about you. They finally see you, they finally meet you, and now, now is the time. So if I'm late for a meeting, forgive me, but I was talking to a potential student, and I'm going to work as hard as I can to try to make that student be a part of the successful aspect here at Findlay. If it's not my program, I have to sell your program, Ron. There you go. That's how it works.
Right.
But as long as they're here, then yeah, I got them, and I got to pay attention, because I've been on that other side where I only had a moment and somebody stopped and took time with me. And that's what that back there is all about. So
Thank you very much, Lisa.
thank you.
I think I'm enrolling in the, well, wait, I'm done. I finished the program. I don't need to do that. So this is why I do this. I get to talk to my friends. Not all of them maybe are as smart, funny, and kind as you are, but they're all entertaining, and I learn such great things. So this concludes our episode for today. If you'd like to get in contact with Dr. Bradley and ask her more questions, probably bradley2@findlay.edu, correct? Is the best?
Bradley L2.
Bradley L2 at findlay.edu, spelled Bradley L2 at findlay.edu. So thank you for joining us on Ask the Professor.
You.
And we will see you soon. Check us out at Findlay Media Network, UFTV, or on our YouTube channel, and please subscribe. Thanks again, folks. Bye.